Yo, what's going on, yo? OJISAN-TENGU back in the house with another cool video for us to watch. And tonight, we're going to be checking out Marvelous Videos Top 11 Retro Anime Too Hardcore for Modern TV. I say, hot damn, that's a mouthful. Jesus Christ, Marvelous Video. That must have been for the algorithm. Wrap that shit up. Anyway, how's everybody doing? Are you okay? Are you doing well? I'm glad. So, come on this journey and check out this video with me. You ready? I am. Hold on. I gotta stop that. I gotta always remember to give my man, Marvelous Videos, a round of applause. Round of applause for Marvelous Videos, please. Thank you, Marvelous Videos. You make good shit. So, guys, without further ado, let's check it out.
There's definitely a bunch of stuff that the modern era of anime does right. However, we'd like to make the argument that things were way wilder back in the old days. Yeah, shows from that retro
I know about the old days.
A bit rough around the edges.
Because I'm an old man.
We all know that nothing so hardcore can make it to modern TV. Thus, in this marvelous video, we'll be tipping our hat to the most glorious and hardcore retro anime by listing out the top 11 anime that would have never made
she
it
got
to our
some really beautiful
screens,
hair.
modern censorship laws and their mature content. But before we move into all the blood and gore, please take a moment to hit that like and subscribe button. It might just be a small click for you, but to us, it means an awful lot. Now, with that out of the way, let's go.
Come on.
Urotsuki Doji, Legend of the Overfiend. Urotsuki Doji, Legend of the Overfiend is a 1989 Japanese anime film mainly targeted towards adults.
I ain't gonna ask you to subscribe.
Directed by Hideki Takayama.
Do what you want to do as far as that.
Same name penned by Toshio Maeda. Most anime fans consider this anime to be a defining moment in the hentai genre.
I ain't begging nobody for shit.
For its I don't want sexual violence and demonic horror. It masterfully blends eroticism and apocalyptic fantasy, creating something that would never make it onto the TV in this new era of anime. At the center of Urotsuki Doji's sprawling tale is Amano Jaku, a mysterious being from the realm of Jujinkai, or the Beastman world. Turns out that Amano had been searching for about 3,000 years.
Ooh, that man is good with them words, ain't he?
An extremely powerful messiah who's destined to one day unite the three realms: the human world, the demon world, and the Beastman. It is believed that this will bring forward a new era of peace, but things get a bit too complicated when Amano begins to suspect that it is a shy, awkward high school student named Tatsuo Nagamo, who is to be the reincarnation of the Overfiend. As Amano is investigating this, Nagamo begins unleashing terrifying powers, slowly going through a pretty disturbing transformation. As Tatsuo gets more comfortable with his powers, other factions from different realms, including ruthless demons, begin invading the human world to exploit the Overlord for their own agendas. Eventually, the narrative descends into absolute chaos.
What the hell he got his foot in? Oh my goodness, that don't look right.
Blur, culminating in catastrophic destruction and numerous revelations about the true nature of the Overfiend. Violence Jack. Violence Jack is a tale set in a post-apocalyptic world created by Go Nagai, was first released in 1973. It takes us to a brutal dystopia still reeling from the effects of a catastrophic event known as the Great Kanto Hellquake. Japan has now descended into complete chaos, where violence has become a part of daily life. The show was pretty controversial for its depictions of
sound like an anime about right now.
Brutality, with an excessively nihilistic tone that can be hard to digest even today. The protagonist, Violence Jack, is a towering, mysterious, and seemingly indestructible wanderer who roams the ruins of Japan with his trusted jackknife. At first glance, you might mistake Jack for just another brute traveling through his brutal dystopia. He's actually a dark avenger that appears to confront tyrants, rapists, and warlords who dare to prey on the weak. With time, Jack becomes a figure that is both feared and revered as he begins functioning like the only semblance of justice left in this cruel world. Each of the arcs in this story shows us the different survivors trying to make it in this horrifying world. Through Jack's journey, we encounter biker gangs, cannibals, despots, etc., who make it evident that this is a world that has given up on itself. Jack,
a lot of bad people,
arrives to ease their suffering and bring some bloody retribution. Though this is an older tale, many state that there are some lingering connections to some of Go Kanagai's more renowned works like Devilman, but that's something you'll have to see for yourself. Though this story was adapted into 3 OVAs back in the late 80s and early 90s, most of these adaptations have been banned in numerous countries due to their controversial content. But then again, that's
I can see
exactly
why.
what we're here for. Genocyber. Genocyber is a landmark achievement in the cyberpunk genre, mainly due to the way in which it blends horror with its more futuristic elements. Released in the
Excuse
form of an OVA series between 1994 and 97, this series was directed by Koichi Ohara, based on Tony Takazaki's manga of the same name. The show has been criticized for its bleak tone and excessive use of violence, even though at its core it's about how scientific hubris can lead to the destruction of humanity. The story is set in a dystopian future once again, but this time our leads are 2 psychic sisters, Elaine and Diana. These 2 siblings are actually the subjects of a series of brutal scientific experiments that have awakened their latent powers. When combined, their powers give rise to a bioweapon known as the Genocyber, which is essentially a monstrous entity capable of unprecedented destruction. As the threat posed by Genocyber becomes evident, numerous governments and corporations spring into action in order to harness this ungodly power. The struggle that follows causes our protagonists to dive headfirst into a world of carnage and violence. Each episode from Genocyber presents us with a completely new narrative arc, often featuring characters who have become entangled by the horror brought on by Genocyber's existence. As the world transforms from an airborne utopia to a war-ravaged hellscape, Genocyber begins portraying the total collapse of human civilization, grotesque body horror, and extreme ultra-violence. Ninja Scroll. Ninja Scroll definitely has the largest following on this
Shit
list,
right there.
largely due to the cult status it has achieved over the
Yume.
years. The film, directed by Yoshiaki Kawajiri, was first released in 1993 and showed us a brand new take on the age-old conventions of the
Where's
samurai
Jobe?
genre, blending together supernatural elements and graphic violence to create something mesmerizing and disturbing in equal measures. This is a story set in feudal Japan, where the wandering ronin Jubei Kibagami becomes entangled with a deadly conspiracy that involves everything from demonic ninjas to government corruption. Along the way, he teams up with Kagero,
Figured I'd kill 2
female
birds with
ninja
1
and
stone.
poison taster from
And
the
I would
Kiga
eventually
clan,
get it right.
saving her from a monstrous attack. Soon, our 2 unlikely heroes discover a plot designed by an elite group of supernaturally powered ninjas known as the Devils of Kimon to overthrow the Tokugawa shogunate through dark sorcery and stolen gold. The combat is really fun in Ninja Scroll, as each of these 8 devils possesses all kinds of grotesque abilities that make for extremely engaging fights. Over the course of the story, we also delve into Jubei's mysterious past, only to find out that he has a couple of skeletons tucked away in his closet. At the end of the tale, Jubei must confront Genma, the leader of the 8 devils, who was once an old comrade thought to be dead. Well, death isn't really final in this world, as resurrections are pretty commonplace. Ninja Scroll is a visceral and disturbing experience that we highly recommend you watch.
It was outstanding.
Berserk. Honestly, there's not much we could say about Kentaro Miura's violent magnum opus that hasn't
Never heard of this
already
one
been
before.
said before.
Heard
One
of
of the most
Berserker.
successful dark fantasy stories of all time, Berserk is definitely a series that belongs on the Mount Rushmore of ultra-violent anime. Though it's a pretty difficult tale to get through because of all the terrible things that happen, it still remains one of the most poignant stories ever written about the ravages of war, follies of
Hold
human
on,
nature.
is this
Berserk
Berserker?
follows Guts, a
Dead
wandering
wrong.
swordsman cloaked in black, on his quest to exact vengeance against his old friend and commander,
Confused
Griffith,
whether it was called
who's
Berserk
responsible
or
for some of
Berserker.
the worst actions a fictional character has ever committed. Though it's easy to see Guts as a savage brute when we first encounter him, we soon learn about his tragic backstory and the loss of his former friends, the Band of the Hawk. However, when Griffith sacrifices this jolly group of mercenaries for the sake of his own ambition in an event known as the Eclipse, it awakens all of the hatred buried deep in Guts' heart, making him turn into the animalistic Black Swordsman. Despite all the violence, Berserk remains a heartfelt story about how the people around you can help you overcome all the tragedies that you've experienced. This
Okay,
becomes
he said
increasingly
Berserk.
evident as Berserk
And then he
assembles a
says
new group of
Berserker.
companions over the course of its
All
long and arduous journey. Despite Miura's untimely demise in 2021, Berserk still remains a landmark achievement in the world of manga, and we couldn't be more hyped to recommend it to our marvelous viewers. Wicked City. Yoshiaki Kawajiri
Saw
was
this one
definitely
too.
a prolific creator who brought
Good
the most
shit, good
disturbing
shit.
visions to life. In addition to the aforementioned Ninja Scroll, he's the man behind the show Wicked City, inspired by the novels of Hideyuki Kikuchi. This saga blends together supernatural horror, noir vibes, and erotic flourish in order to explore a world where humans have come into contact with a parallel dimension of demonic inhabitants known as the Black World. Our protagonist is Renzaburo Taki, a human agent working for the elite force known as the Black Guard, who is tasked with maintaining the fragile balance between the two realms. His partner, Makie, is a seductive yet powerful agent from the Black World. Together, these two unlikely companions must protect Giuseppe Maillard, an eccentric diplomat whose survival is integral for a peace treaty that can finally bring forth an era of harmony between these two realms. However, their mission faces constant attacks at the hands of Black World extremists who stand against the treaty. In order to save the world from plunging into absolute chaos, Taki and Makie must face mighty monsters as well as sexualized violence in a world hell-bent on carnage and conspiracy. As they take on these challenges, a strange bond begins to form between the two colleagues, which is exactly what Wicked City is truly about. Fist of the North Star. Older anime fans undoubtedly saw this one coming. Fist of the North Star is definitely a product of the 80s with its larger-than-life characters and stylized violence.
You are already
There's just something about this.
It's over for you guys! All of you are dead!
The show is based on a manga series created by Boronsen and Tetsuo Hara, which follows Kenshiro, a stoic giant who walks the post-apocalyptic ruins as the sole successor of a lethal martial arts style, Hokudo Shinken. This is a world that has been torn to pieces by nuclear war, with the remnants of human civilization plunged into complete chaos and anarchy. Kenshiro wanders through this wasteland in a perpetual search for his kidnapped fiancée, Yuria, all the while saving the weak from their oppressors. With his iconic catchphrase, "You're already dead," he delivers swift justice in a world where all semblance of the law has collapsed, making him a really feared figure amongst evildoers. Over the course of his journey, Kenshiro faces many enemies, each more powerful than the last. However, he manages to outshine everyone, including rival martial arts practitioners, through his mastery of the Hokudo Shinken style. Though there are many glorious battles in this saga, it's an epic about destiny, sacrifice, and morality.
Classic.
Devilman: The Birth. Devilman: The Birth is a 1987 OVA that has been adapted from Go Nagai's most influential creation, Devilman. Yeah, we know that there's a brand new Netflix adaptation out there, but we believe that the retro one is still more iconic. This story serves as the first installment in a two-parter, which offers a darker, more violent retelling of the manga's original story. The tale follows Akira Fudo, a kind teenager who is one day transformed into the titular Devilman. In this form, Fudo obtains the powers of a devil but retains his human soul. We eventually find that his transformation was orchestrated by his childhood friend, Ryo Asuka,
Y'all seen any of these,
after
man?
uncovering an ancient truth. The demons, the former rulers of Earth, have reawakened
look
to
good.
claim what was once theirs. Thus, to fight this impending threat, Ryo takes
I have to
Akira
check
to a
some of these
completely
out.
depraved
Well,
club
maybe you
filled with
should.
demons to trigger a mass possession event. As a result, Akira merges with the powerful demon, Amon, gaining unbelievable strength that can help him combat the invading demons. As the story progresses, Akira must fight not only the invading demons, but even the increasing darkness in his own heart, which we all know is never easy. Angel Cop. Angel Cop is a 6-part OVA series that aired between 1989 and 94, adapted from the manga by Taku Kitazaki. In a dystopian near future where Japan has risen to become the world's leading economic power, the nation
Everything is in a
nonetheless racked
dystopian
by
future.
domestic unrest and violent upheaval. To counter these threats, the government deploys the Special Security Force, SSF, a shadowy counterterrorism unit tasked with crushing insurgents by any means necessary. At the
Now,
center
really
of the story is
realizing
Angel,
most of
a
these
ruthless and unflinching
animes were made
SSF
back in the
operative
80s and the
assigned to
90s,
eliminate members of
and the
Red May, a
dystopian
radical
future that they
communist
were
group
talking about
dedicated to the sole objective of toppling
was
the government. The show starts out as a pretty straightforward anti-terror mission,
Sensational.
and spirals into something far more insidious. Angel uncovers a covert conspiracy involving rogue elements within the government, telepathic assassins, and a sinister experimental program that challenges the very notion of justice and veers dangerously close to outright fascism. Angel Cop pulls no punches in its depiction of ultra-violence, nationalist rhetoric, and psychic warfare. Its raw, gritty animation and politically charged storyline are drenched in the hard-edged aesthetic of the late 80s and early 90s anime. Kite. This controversial anime, directed by Yasuome Umetsu and released in 1998, quickly developed a cult following for its unflinching portrayal of graphic violence and disturbing subject matter. Set against a backdrop drenched in noir tones, the story follows Sawa, a teenage assassin coerced into killing for a pair of corrupt detectives. The same men are responsible for murdering Sawa's parents. This is an exceedingly bleak take that depicts a person trapped in a grim,
That's a hell of a
dehumanizing
plot
world.
twist, ain't it?
Sawa leads a hollow life where her innocence and identity are stripped away through violence and carnage every single day. This leaves her in a state of emotional distress as she is forced to become a tool for the system that destroyed her. But her bleak routine is disrupted when she crosses paths with Oburi, a fellow assassin. A bond gradually forms between them, fragile yet profound, and this offers Sawa a glimpse of something beyond the bloodshed. As the two share their trauma, we begin to see the possibility of escape, of a life where they are no longer pawns forced to commit acts of violence just to survive. Together, the two assassins dream of breaking free from the violence that
Oh my
defines
Lord,
them,
dude.
and there's something
There's a
very
panty-
hauntingly beautiful
A
about
panty
that.
flash.
Mad Bull 34. Mad Bull 34 is a Japanese manga series by Kazuo Koike, which follows rookie NYPD officer Eddie after he is assigned to the 34th precinct after graduating from the academy. The precinct is situated in Manhattan and has the highest crime rate in the entire country. He's also paired with the Afro-Puerto Rican cop John Estes.
Nothing shocking
who is
about that.
nicknamed Sleepy by his friends. However, Estes has a violent streak and is notorious among criminals for being something of a mad bull. He has no qualms firing off shotguns even for minor crimes and is pretty comfortable skimming off money from prostitutes and criminals. Moreover, he doesn't care how much damage he causes to the city while chasing down criminals. Though Eddie is pretty reluctant to this new partnership,
Eddie
you
is
soon
part of
see
the
that
village
despite
people?
his outlandish actions, the Mad Bull still has his heart in the right place. The bond that forms between the two comrades is the heart of this series, and we would really love to recommend this unconventional yet hardcore series to all the fans of retro anime. Marvelous verdict! Well, this list makes it
All
evident that the anime back in the day was pretty hardcore. Though many of these series would definitely be banned if they came out today, and for good reason, we can't help but feel nostalgic about the bygone era. Anyways,
This
what do you
woke
think?
world?
Are there any other animes that you
Jones
would
wouldn't
like to
last
see
a
on
week.
this list? You let us know in the comments down below, but also don't forget to hit the like and subscribe buttons to stay up to date with our marvelous content. That's it for now, but don't worry because we'll catch you in the next one real soon.
All right, Joe. Hope you enjoyed it. Very interesting. I liked a lot of those. I might have to check them out later. You know what I mean? See what they're heading for.
Check it out
Well, guys,
online.
this is your boy, OJISAN-TENGU, about to check out this piece. Hope everybody is having a good time. Hope everybody is in good spirits, especially with the upcoming holiday. So, I'm gonna have to see y'all later. And hopefully, I can come back with another cool video for us to watch. OJISAN-TENGU, signing out. Peace.
See you guys later. Peace.